starting with Daryl Brown. Daryl, here you are. Thank you for waiting. You've been here for a long time. The CEO of Canadian National Exhibition. We're ready.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here and enjoy a day at City Hall. I guess I'd start by saying that it's wonderful to have things that are shiny and new, but not necessarily at the expense of things that are tried and true. The Canadian National Exhibition Association's been around for 144 years. And, you know, we quite recently had some very dark days during COVID. It was a real struggle. We had laid off most of our staff. The senior people, including myself, took salary reductions to sort of scratch and claw our way through those dark days to get to the point of getting to putting on a 2022 CNE. And wow, did we put on a 2022 CNE. The economic impact that came out of that fair was over $142 million to the province, over $112 million to the city. 45% of the people traveled into the GTA and spent $108 million here. As usual, we employed about 5,000 people, and 78% were of the direct hires were ethnically diverse, 15% were people with disabilities. And when we look at the 2023 fair, there was even higher numbers with over 1.6 million people attending. And on top of that, even spending more than in 2022, we're in the midst of preparing an economic impact assessment for 2023. What we do know is we had 3.9 billion media impressions across those 18 days. And on top of that, there were over 5,200 news stories. We had over 1,200 accredited media in attendance. The message is that the public really considers this CNE to be an important aspect of life here in the GTA. So we were quite happy to achieve some level of stability, but that doesn't mean there aren't challenges that we're facing. And we've always been adaptable, and there's been a number of changes over the years. And if I were to list the changes since the BOG came on board in 1983, it would be too long for the time I have to speak. But, you know, for example, in 2012, we had restrictions placed on us at Marilyn Bell. In 2014, we had restrictions placed on us in the Water Channel, even though we've been programming the Water Channel since the 1890s. With the Phase 2 hotel development that was approved in 2008, the redesign ended up doubling the footprint so that we're losing 360,000 square feet of programmable space. That is a $2.6 million hit per annum on our budget lines. So frankly, when we heard the statement on September 22nd that there was consideration of Thermes coming onto Exhibition Place at the Better Living Center, it was kind of a gut punch to our staff and to certainly the senior people working on the CNE. We usually take hold of the BLC on April 1 of every year. It houses our charity casino, which is a significant revenue source. It houses our farm, and sometimes we do alternate programming there as well. On top of that, we proposed on several occasions to the Board of Governors of X-Place that we lease the Better Living Center year-round and program it year-round to meet their 365-day objective of having programming, and also to take us back to a time when we did more programming on site year-round. We believe that could be a mutually beneficial arrangement. We proposed it in 2018, we proposed it in 2021. There's been some difficulty because, you know, I know CEO Don Boyle had said, well, that we haven't seen a business case, but we also haven't been told what the lease terms might be, what the cost parameters could be to present a valid business case that covers all aspects of cost. We still believe it's a viable alternative. To lose 200,000 square feet of programmable space would have a devastating effect on our programming. We are opposed to a feasibility study for Thermae on site. We are opposed to Thermae being on site in any way, shape, or form. We believe we should work symbiotically, promoting our best interests, promoting the Board of Governors' best interests, and the city's best interests. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the speaker? Deputy Mayor McKelvey, and then
Thank you. Is it a heritage building?
I believe it's classed as heritage, and there's a bit of an irony here that people may not know, but all of these mid-20th century buildings were actually paid for by the CNEA. Debentures were issued by the city, but it was the CNEA that paid for these buildings. And when the changeover occurred to the Board of Governors managing the site, we managed the site for the first 103 years, I think it was assumed that there would be allocation and protection for CNE on site. And we've seen a gradual deterioration over time of access to facilities. I believe it's classed as heritage, and I believe that presents an issue in and of itself.
And it generates revenue for you that goes towards your bottom line?
Absolutely. There's also infrastructure there. There's a pretty intricate camera setup for our casino, which we keep the wiring in place all year round, even though it only operates basically from mid-July through the CNE period. But it is a substantial source of revenue that offsets some of our other programming costs.
If you were to do a feasibility study, would you be able to turn that around for December 5th? It's in a month.
If we were to do a feasibility study on alternate uses for the Better Living Center?
On citing Therm there, yeah.
We're opposed to a feasibility study altogether for Thermae. We don't believe that that should be something that should be promoted at all. However, we can definitely present a business case that would provide revenue to the city and actively program that site year-round with us managing the Better Living Center.
But if asked to do the feasibility study, like,
Well, it wouldn't be us doing it. It would be, presumably, it would be the city planning, and I would assume the Board of Governors of Exhibition Place. We would provide input,
okay,
but it was somebody else carrying the ball.
okay, thank you.
Councillor Easley.
Thank you. Daryl, can you just explain a bit about, so if the spa went into the Better Living Center, what are your alternatives on the grounds for that usable space?
Well, that's a good question because, as you know, the farm is typically there. We would have to look elsewhere, but part of the problem is losing that additional 360,000 square feet of programmable space due to the Phase 2 hotel. We already have to move a substantial portion of what normally resides on site during the fair outside of the CNE, which is going to increase our costs substantially. And if like the farm programming is an educational program, it doesn't generate revenue, but the Midway generates revenue, for example. So we have to balance what is revenue generating versus what is educational, what is arts, what's cultural. We don't see an obvious place for where these things can go.
Okay. And if I look at the CNE, like the footprint of it 10 years ago, there's a number of buildings on the grounds I can think of. You know, Ryko Coliseum, I know that was used at one time. Liberty Grand, what I always called the Flower Building, Horticulture Building.
Horticultural building,
has
yes.
a nightclub in it now. So the footprint has been reduced of your viable buildings that you could use if you didn't have the Better Living Center.
Absolutely. The Horticultural Building, Liberty Grand, Medieval Times, those have all gone by the wayside, to name a few. We still program the Coliseum. It's very difficult for us. We do technically have access to BMO Field, but the restrictions placed on use are such that it's not financially viable. It costs us about $100,000 to cover the field if we're going to do anything there before we do any programming at all. So technically we have access to BMO, but it's not like the old stadium. So yes, we've lost a substantial footprint already.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Chow.
Malik?
very much. Good to see you, Daryl and Suzanne as well. Thank you for your presentation. And we have, through the chair, we have spoken before and have affirmed and reassured that this preliminary feasibility assessment at the very high level will prioritize CNEA's core uses and the strategic plans, the development work that you have put forward and that we know is important to the future of Exhibition Place as well. You're aware of that?
I am aware of it. I just believe that even raising the issue of a feasibility study lends credibility to a concept that is defective at the outset.
Councillor Carroll?
I'm just wondering, if we take if this became a terms of reference, it's part of the proposal here, but I would assume it becomes a term of reference, any consideration of citing the Thermae water spa facility at Exhibition Place would need to comment on alignment with key Exhibition Place plans such as the strategic plan and phase 1 proposals report, the core uses of Exhibition Place, and thereby I would assume that means the core uses of the Better Living Center and the operations of key tenants and event organizers of Exhibition Place, such as the CNE. If that's a term of reference, is a feasibility study kind of a waste of money?
Well, it's very difficult for me to envision a situation where the conclusion would be anything but turning down Thermaes if we're factoring in what the needs are of our organization, for example.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. No other question? Next speaker,